Empowerment and respect of merit needs to be amicably integrated so that humanity and system be the winner globally. Out of turn desire to be equal and on top of it, tendency to dictate dominate and trying to supersede the intellect by hook or crook, occasionally by emotional blackmailing by weaker stuff can be and should be diluted gradually to knit better and rewarding all-round growth, peace, and harmony.
Agree on this, that as far as women's live or women's empowerment is concerned or equality is concerned, I think that was a good thing which has happened. But it has some drawbacks also.
It's very, very difficult to make them understand their responsibilities. Some are mature enough to understand, and some are not. So, because of the media, because of the too much of awareness, or if I'm saying too much of stupidity, the girls are also becoming more and more over advanced, which is not required. So,
Generally, problem is because of women in the world. And beside empowering them, someone should be a whistleblower also, so that some reforms can come in the mindset of the women also.
Namaskar.
Namaskar ji, namaskar. Meet Dr. Shubhi Jain. She is a PhD from IIT Roorkee, 2007. She is founder of Nanne Scientist, and she is a very vocal and willing person to participate in any discussion relating to reforms, and reforms can be of any field. Our key speaker today, expert, is Mr. Kaul, Surendra Kaul. He is IIT Roorkee 73 graduate. He has been Denmark for 30 years. He has vast experience of life, technical as well as personal life. He has written many books. He is champion of understanding women's psychology also. That is why he is here. And Shubhi Jain is here because she is relatively young, but definitely can share the mindset of ordinary women. We have been respecting women right from the time of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Lakshmi ji, Parvati ji, and Saraswati ji, then Sita ji, then Lakshmi Bai, Indira Gandhi, and now Sudha Narayan Murthy, chairperson of Infosys Foundation. So women are doing extremely well, providing excellent services everywhere, and we are proud of it. Question is, in every learned society or every learned person has always been respecting women. But now, since last so many decades, we are listening a word women empowerment. There seems some fallout of this empowerment also. So to kickstart the topic, I will request Kaul Saab to let us know his understanding about the women empowerment in India, vis-a-vis in foreign countries, because he has been there. So, Mr. Kaul, now it is your turn.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Sinha, for inviting me for this Zoom chat. And I also welcome Shubhiji for joining us, and thank you very much for attending our Zoom chat here. So I won't go too much into history. I think let me start by saying that women empowerment is more of a political slogan. I would say a more balanced view would be equality among the men and the women. That would be the main focus. I would put that on. And I would dwell on these aspects of societies, that how can we say that do we have that kind of equality as the judiciary has given that power to women to be with men on all spheres of life, whether it's finance, whether it's household, or it is household. Today, even men are working. I mean, I'm not saying many, most of them, but there are many. They're doing that kind of job. Then what happens is, see, my background after living 32 years in Denmark has been that I think Scandinavia, where Denmark is a part of, was in forefront of having, what should I say, the movement which was called Women's Lib, which was women's liberation. And in true sense of the word, I mean, it took not a very long time. When I went there in 76, women were still very few in politics, if any. And, you know, the job situation also, women did the routine jobs like accountancy or reception and things like that. But slowly, not slowly, I would say in another couple of decades. I mean, I think today there are more than 50%, I think, in the parliament. And you know, a lot of CEOs, they are women and things like that. So coming from that background, and then what social repercussions that particular liberation had on Danish society, that was remarkable. And you know, I can talk about it for a very long time. But I think that would be my base, and that is that have we achieved that equality? And if we haven't achieved that equality, what are the repercussions which has have happened as far as Indian society is concerned? So I'll be focusing more on Indian society than the international scenario.
Exactly, women empowerment, what it is, you see, political slogan sort of thing and wasted interest sort of thing. You just clarify this point. It is not clear to us.
I think I have given you the background now. I think it will be better if Shubhiji also comes up with some, what should I say, the startup or some kind of a statement where she will be coming from and giving her ideas. Once she has generalized that, then we can go into
Sure,
specific, and I can clarify that point for you.
sure. So Shubhi Janji, I request you to please throw some light on the subject vis-a-vis what I said or Mr. Kaul so far shared on the subject. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. Myself, Shubhi. I did my PhD long time back, but it was in 2007. So after I did my PhD, I got married, and that was the time when you realize that though your education is up to the mark, but then there are some circumstances, or you can say some conditions that sometimes you have to face it, and it is the girl who finally compromises. So either you have to choose career or you have to choose your family. So it is always you need to keep a balance between the two. You cannot run for the career, neither you can actually devote whole of your life to your family. So everything needs to be balanced. So this, what we are seeing in the present scenario, what we are seeing is that the girls are coming up now and they want to actually focus on their career, which is really a very, very making them independent. And it is not that they are leaving their family behind and then they are working. They are taking all of them, all of these things together. And what I feel that once you actually educate a girl child, you educate a whole family. So the concepts are very, very different in, we can take either urban or rural sector. But what the present scenario is that the girls are coming and they are becoming independent, which is, I think, very, very important for an individual. If we don't actually talk about the gender over here, we I believe that both should get equal opportunities. No matter a girl or a boy, both are equal at certain level because expertise are given to both. They both are actually studying the same course, both are educated, both are getting the same degree, but at the same time, one is actually being more responsible and one is asked to go out and work. So we have to follow that kind of culture. At the same time, I think the girls are actually, because they are educated, they have their own command, and it is good for the society because our society is getting evolved by that concept. So according to me, I would like to say that women empowerment is actually seeing a lot of changes in India. And we are actually becoming more and more, girls are becoming more and more independent. They are getting into defense as well. And they are doing those jobs which are equivalent to the ones which are being done by the officers, male counterparts. So obviously, I think the society is changing. And I just don't know whether we should make it a political slogan or not, because politics is actually something which pulls you down. Sometimes there are such kind of making policies and all that, which really pulls you down. So even in politics, if we talk about, there are so many females who are working at such a educated and such a important in post. So I think I just put this much across. So yeah, we can continue later.
Thank you, Dr. Shubhi. I have to highlight one point. This is Sudha Nayan Murthy had written somewhere that for 30 years, they did not enjoy even a single holiday when this Infosys was being shaped. How many women, you see? It is true. If women are intelligent and like you, they can be considerate. But in general, literacy plays a very important role. Now over to Khalsa.
My thing is that I when I try to assess a particular situation, for me it is very important that for a country, for a society, I have to see if women empowerment is giving something positive to the society and finally to the nation. I really have lesser sympathy for the individuals, that is, and also as genders, for women or men. I care less about those two, the definitive divisions in the society, than the nation and the society. Society has to function in harmony, and the nation has to be proud nation which has international respect, and the nation has to function in a good way so that its image is also good in international. Now, having said that, the problem I think with this women empowerment, why I was saying that this is a slogan, this is a political slogan, because we have to accept one fact, and that is that the politicians do take advantage of these kind of situations. We cannot run away from that, all right? And also to give voice to either men or women, it doesn't matter. You need politicians because they have a way of talking. They are the biggest influencers. They can move masses either for you or against you. So we cannot avoid politics. So as far as that part is concerned, that of course has to be there. So we don't have to go into nitty-gritty details ki how politicians are, they are corrupt and they don't do their jobs and they do this, that, all that hanky-panky about politicians. Let's not discuss that. But let's talk about the core message. The core message is that politicians cannot be avoided. They will always be there, and they will be there and they have always been there in one form or the other. Now comes the societal part. Now, as far as the societal part is concerned, has women empowerment given anything positive or not? Let's face the fact, as far as the women empowerment is concerned, for the gender, by and large, it has been a good practice, because earlier, I don't want to go into details of that, but earlier, as Shubhiji also, Shubhiji was also saying that the women's job was like filling in the blanks. The man was the man of the house, and she fulfilled the need of the house, of the man and the household and the children. And then on top of it, probably the in-laws also, right? She didn't have the individuality in the whole societal scenario. And that, I think, was pretty detrimental for herself, as well as, I think, for the society, because the best did not come out in the job market, in the politics, in other spheres of nations' welfare, and also corporate, also in the public sector. So they remained subdued, and that came out, and that, I think, was very helpful as far as that part was concerned. So we can also sort of agree on this, that as far as women's live or women's empowerment is concerned, or equality is concerned, I think that was a good thing which has happened, but it has some drawbacks also, and I will take that later on. So this will be my next stage.
So thank you, Mr. Kaul. Now I have to address to Dr. Subhi. I have to tell her, or I want to know from her, what sort of empowerment you feel has not been given, or is given in a wrong way. Do you mean right of equality should apply in a 100% satisfying manner? Every woman should be equal to man. Is it possible? Will it work? Over to Dr. Shubhi.
Thank you so much, sir, for the question. So the problem that what we are facing nowadays is that in the urban sector, we are not actually dependent on resources. So the women are independent and they have a proper say. But what about the rural sector? I was very lucky enough to being brought up in a good family, so I came out of this thing. But the trauma, the things the lady has to go through when they are in the rural sector, I just don't know whether they are getting that much of they are able to attain that much confidence of their family members and can go out easily and. They can work what they are aiming for in life. They are able to perform that good. So the problem is that urban sector may the people and the ladies and the whole society, when we talk about the societal issues, the society has upgraded and people have understood the importance of women empowerment. They know that these are also same equal like men, and they can also contribute to the workforce. So both of them are working in the same manner, it's the same hours, and they are actually contributing to the progressive India. But in the rural sector, when we talk about, still some problems are there, and people have not understood the importance of women empowerment. So we have to actually make some awareness programs, and I think the government should take proper measures to make the people aware. That can be in any form, through ads, through making them, giving them incentives. It can be in any way, but they have to come out of the house, and the men have to realize that they can also equally contribute to the society.
Thank you, Dr. Shubhi Jain. You have not replied to my questions, which were pointed towards a point which generally people don't like to discuss. Now I switch over to Kaul Saab. I want to say that he should tell us what sort of empowerment we should provide, where we are lagging, how it can be better implemented. Over to Khalsa.
See, let me let me start by saying that my wife is the boss, and I am the slave of the house. So that is the amount of empowerment I am given as far as my wife is concerned. And I really mean it from the core of my heart. She is the boss. I ask her each and everything. She doesn't ask me everything, whatever decision she's going to take. But I ask her before taking any decision, I ask her every time. And you know why? Because men basically are boys. They always will remain boys. And we, in our gusto of enthusiasm, of bravado, will make certain decisions in haste. But the women, they are like Ankush. वो थोड़ा सा इधर जरा टैप करेंगी, so then they start telling you, okay, listen, this probably is not a rational way to go, so or irrational way to go. So do like this, think about it. And she is graceful enough to say in the end, well, it's up to you now. I've given you my advice. Now you do whatever you do. And what do you think I do? I listen to her. Well, most of the time. Sometimes I do override her. But I think overall, I would say the women empowerment is a positive thing, not alone for the world, but for India also. Now, Shubhiji touched a very pertinent subject, and that is okay. As far as urban women are concerned, they are pretty okay, or at least if we talk about the tier one cities like Bombay, Delhi, Hyderabad, well, not Chennai to that extent, but let's say Bangalore, and places like this. There, the women have actually a pretty good hold as far as the equality is concerned. All right, but when you go to the tier two cities and tier three cities, then the downfall of equality takes place, and it's very evident. I've been to so many places, and I talk to a lot of people and things like that. But the worst part is, as Shubhiji was saying, as far as villages are concerned, things are the same as they were 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago. Women are still limited in their household. They may have, this is important, they may have a what should I say, a very manipulative is a negative word, but a very decent way of manipulating things with their husbands, because the husband just shouts and says, okay, this is the way it's going to be. But then the women have that knack to turn his head and say, no, that's not a wise thing to do. You have to do it like this. And sometimes the husbands do listen. But what I'm trying to say is that thing, like Shubhiji doing a PhD, or Smriti Irani becoming the minister, or Sitaraman, what is her name, the finance minister, Mrs. Sitaraman, she's become a finance minister. So there are a lot of ministers, and they are doing a fantastic job. Let's face the fact. Not that their male counterparts are doing lesser job, but they have proven their mettle, and they have really raised the bar as far as the women liberation is concerned, or women empowerment is concerned. So I think overall, as I said earlier also, I think the women empowerment or liberation or whatever you can call it, I think it's a very good thing. And this is an ongoing process. It's not like that, okay, now we both are equal and that the process stops. No, it doesn't. It's not going to be like that. In India, is a constant struggle, and it will keep on going probably for days and for decades and decades and decades.
Thank you, Mr. Kaul. But let me tell Dr. Shuvi that 1,000 years ago, Prithviraj Chauhan At the age of 25, he was killed by Ghazni. His father-in-law was Jayachand, and Sangeeta was his wife. And Sangeeta was empowered by Prithviraj Chauhan and instructed to the people of empire of Prithviraj Chauhan that each and every word or order will be honored. So our seniors, our generations, older generations have been respecting women. Point here is, point of controversy is this, that many people say, you see, Shubhi Jain is mother of two daughters. Our Kaul is a father of a son and daughter both. I also have two sons. Generally, problem is because of women in the world. And beside empowering them, someone should be a whistleblower also, so that some reforms can come in the mindset of the woman also. This is very important from my point of view. Parents and parents-in-law behave differently. And worst is mother and mother-in-law teach differently to their son, to the daughter and daughter-in-law. So this is causing so many suicides, so many separations, so many people, young couples are not able to enjoy blissful married life. That is the concern. And how it can be possible, I will ask both Mr. Kaul and Dr. Shui. Now it is your turn, Dr. Shui. Please tell.
So yes, very true. The marriages are actually at a stage, at the threshold that where the separations and divorces have become a very common thing. But what is there that what I told in the initial discussion, that balance has to be there. Till the time there's a balance between the married and your career, nothing can go wrong. So the when you give weightage to one of the thing, there is a problem. So very, very important is, no matter boy or a girl, they have to maintain a balance between the relationship. And what is being seen is that so basically, the balance, what I'm talking about when it comes to marriages, it is extremely important. And this is what I have to say about this thing. Is that when it comes to marriages, it is a very, very personal issue, though. But then the thing is that girls are also becoming extremely smarter these days, which is again becoming a problem. So obviously, the nature works when it is in balance. So if you, and this is all, the world is spontaneous. So whatever is coming together is because due to the spontaneity. So the energies, and if we talk about the energies which are around us, is all because we are into the spontaneous bonding. So the thing is that till the time we are keeping our ecosystem in the balanced manner, things around us also work accordingly, and the energies and the positivity remains, and the family flourishes. But if suppose a girl, if I'm talking only about the urban sector, then the girls are becoming, because they have a proper command, they have started becoming dominating, and they think that the whole society and the community is because of them. So that because till a certain age, when you suppress something and something evolves, it evolves like a lava. If I talk in that term as a layman language, because I'm not the right person to discuss on this topic. So if I say that if you suppress something for certain view, certain idea, if you suppress it for certain level, because everybody knows that there was a certain affinity towards boys, a boy being born in the family, there was though we have seen those times as well. So there was affinity towards people liking a boy being, brought up and born in a family. But at the same time, now I don't think so. We are so particular. But yes, this is what I'm saying, that when you suppress something for a certain level, it grows. It actually the lava. It emits like a lava, and that is what has happened. Now the girls, it's very, very difficult to make them understand their responsibilities. Some are mature enough to understand, and some are not. So because of the media, because of the too much of awareness, or if I'm saying too much of stupidity, the girls are also becoming more and more over advanced, which is not required. So if we balance and keep a relationship together, because as it is being said that you have to you are basically the two main bodies which are actually main tires, or you can offer bicycle. So it is being said that both have to contribute to the same level, and that is how the marriages are very, very successful. So there is no harm in actually working, but uh, but things are need to be maintained at a certain level. Relations are to be respected. I think that is the most important aspect of our family life. And this is because India made a lot of people actually, and even Western countries, they also support Indian community, Indian system, and Indian values, which is being provided by the family, the family, which is being very bonded in India, and which you don't find it in Western countries. So I think these are the some issues which are to be noticed. And otherwise, I think women empowerment, as sir has told, that it is always going to, even in future, going to give a very, very positive aspect, and we are actually increasing our workforce. So, which is obviously going to contribute towards progressive India.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shubhi. Within 2 minutes, please conclude the session finally.
Huh. See, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. See, I can see it on Shubhiji's face that she probably has had some encounters of that side. And believe me, Shubhiji, you're not the only one. So your story is not a unique one. This is a universal story which is happening to crores of women in India and abroad also. Let me tell you this. Okay, so don't feel shy. So if you have disclosed something, it of course we are on the internet and everybody knows. But let me assure you, this is not unique. This situation is faced by crores of women all across the world. Probably more so in for example, the Muslim countries, lesser so in Indian societies, and even lesser in the probably in the Western hemisphere. But there is a huge difference as far as the Indian culture is concerned. You also have some powers which the Western women don't have. And that is a very minute point, which I don't think we have the time to discuss. We may take another session for this. So let me conclude by saying this, that as I said, there is a generation which probably you belong to, or probably a little bit elder generation also, like my wife, and they have faced, because they were the generation which was passing over to the women's liberation or women empowerment, right? So this is, as I said earlier, it's an ongoing process.
I think artificial intelligence very soon would devise an app or mechanism that would instantly assess by mobile camera face reading to make mutually realize who out of two is how much or how low rate in society, system, family or corporate houses with respect to IQ and utility to pave path of respect of merit in a very, very acceptable way to one and all. This is Mabharti Dream Project clubbing total transparency, database management, and artificial intelligence, and for this team Mabharti is trying to conceive and deliver an app Elokpal.